Hello, in this Box2D video, we're going to set up a debug renderer for our Box2D application. A debug renderer or a debug draw mode is essentially a mode that draws the shapes around the physics bodies. So you might be thinking, why do we want to do that? And the reason is Box2D is just a physics maths library. It's just a bunch of equations. It doesn't handle any drawing. So when we apply some sort of body, we don't know whether we've correctly applied the position, size, that sort of stuff, according to, let's say, our shape or our sprite. I'm using SFML, but this tutorial is valid for any single framework out there. There will be zero SFML code written in this particular video. So yes, that is the reason you would want some sort of debug rendering mode. This is what I've got at the moment. I've got some code off a site that allows us to essentially just click and draw some cool objects under the ground, and there's some physics collisions. These are two different images, but I want to see the way the actual physics bodies are drawn. I'm not too sure about it, and let me give you an example. If I were to go to the application, and if I were to change the video mode to, instead of having 800 by 600 to 1600 by 1200, based on what you already saw, you would think that if the ground is there because obviously it was hard coded in. If I press here, they collide with the ground. But if I press here, you would think they would collide with the ground. The reason is, though we actually changed the screen size, everything else size-wise stayed the same, including the physics bodies. So we need to see how big they are, where they're positioned, if they're correctly created. So let's just set this back to what it was. So 800 by 600. The first thing you're going to want to do is download some files. If you go to the GitHub SFML and Box2D tutorials page that we have created, go to Box2D, go to Debug, Draw, Renderer, then Windows. You want to go to SFML and Box2D template, go to SFML template. There's three files that you will need. You'll need the b2gldraw.cpp, the b2gldraw.h, and then the glext.h. Once you've downloaded those three files, just add them to your project directory like I have done here, and then just quickly add them to your project like you normally would any other file. So add existing item, add it like so, and it's just going to organize it accordingly. Before we start coding, there's literally just one little thing left to do. That's right click on our project, go to properties, go to linker, input, and in additional dependencies, we need to add the dependency for opengl32.lib. So this allows us to use OpenGL code. The reason we're using OpenGL code is to actually draw that debug mode. We could potentially use something like SFML, which is the framework that I'm using, but the benefit of using OpenGL is you'll work on SDL, on GLW, on Allegro, on SFML, on your own custom setup. A friend of mine has created his own engine. He's actually still working on it. He uses Box2D for the physics, and because he is using OpenGL for the debug drawing mode, it just works fine, and it works on SFML as well. So if you just click apply, okay, if you run it, we shouldn't get any errors, and it should just run flawlessly without the debug mode, obviously. And now to actually set up debug mode, if you go to, I'm just going to close this down so we got a bit more real estate. Go to the top of your file. We need to include the file that we added. So hash include b2gldraw.h. We don't need to include this one because this is just used within this file. So I'll just do that like so. And now, after we've just created our world, that's a good place to create our draw instance. So to do that, we just do b2gldraw and I'm going to call this debug draw instance, like so. So what this is going to be is an object of the debug draw mode class that was included within our project that we just did. So what we want to do is world.set debug draw. We just need to pass in a reference to the debug draw instance. We need to just create a unsigned int 32, which is going to be the flags, aka what sort of drawing mode we want. Assign that 0, and we want to do flags plus equal b2 draw colon colon e. There's 5 different types of drawing that you can do. So you got like joint bits, pair bits, shape bits. If you enable and disable some of these, you will get less drawing or more drawing in terms of the actual debug mode. And the more drawing you have, the more of an effect it has on performance. Don't worry, because in a production release, you wouldn't actually have any of these enabled whatsoever. This is just for testing. I would recommend going in, just commenting each one out and just seeing what the difference is. So now that we've done that one, we want e shape bit, e underscore joint bit. Doesn't really matter what order they are. E underscore pair bit, and finally e underscore center of mass bit. The only last thing we need to do is apply these flags to our debug draw instance. So debug draw instance dot flags, or dot set flags I should say. We pass in flags, scroll down, and just before we do window.display, we just need to do world.debug, or draw debug data I should say, and this will draw our debug data. You'll probably want to do it after you've done all your other drawing, because you want to actually be able to see it, otherwise it will just be behind it. And now let's run our application and see our debug mode. So as you can see, there's like a little line here, so this is just created a box around it to show you the physics body. But if I click on these, it's a lot more evident what has happened. These physics bodies are like so, and it's created some sort of mask on top of it. But like I said, I would recommend that you actually go in and comment out some of these flags to see what affects what particular debug mode and which ones you want. So that's it for setting up debug mode on Visual Studio on Windows. If you want to check it out for Mac with the Xcode IDE for free, we'll have a video on that. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button and leave us a comment. And as usual, thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great day.